You too good?
Yeah.
Doing well. How are you?
Email with it's the Chromebook policy. We can come out and plan it all. We'll go over the basics, not the fees.
It is.
We're going to have to
We never do anything down the back.
exactly.
You gotta get them trained.
When you go to do your presentation or whatever, you can take this mouse and do your presentation. Yeah. Can you hand this to Christy when she comes in?
I think Bill's will start.
Or Jill?
That's a meeting. Bill's first. I'll say, you're right.
I think this is the only one well, it was.
It's pretty good.
I know, so needy. Thank you.
Good, you need anything? We're going to try. I don't know, I haven't got a chance to see. No. No. My mother. There goes my
Hey, Fred. We're doing it.
Is recognition?
Yes, sir. I'll see if I can find it. Do you, are you staying the whole time or?
Oh, it looks like it.
Yeah, go anywhere.
In the back bag. That's the detail maybe. And that's like a ton of. This is that's your new one. You're very welcome. Chair.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Ask Miss Fanning if she would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. First up on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Move that we approve the agenda.
Motion been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next, recognition, Dr. Austin.
Mr. Kidwell, if you want, we'll go down and recognize students who have participated in the Kingsport Times News drawing card. Yes. Every month, we recognize students who have submitted and been published in the Kingsport Times News. So this is a recognition of our students.
These are available on board docs if you're interested in that. Typically, we have a ride-on contest also, but that's not something that some will say is in play during the summer. So these are students we want to recognize from Flatwoods that participated and were recognized against by the Kingsport Times-News this month. And the first is Vincent Ashley, Michaela Bergen, Travis Eldridge, Megan Fleener, AJ Huff. Come up and get your certificate. Congratulations. Kyrie Johnson, Brecken Nemty, Wesley Scott, Bo Smith, and Jordan Wyatt. And from Jonesville Middle, we have Jacob Healy. So for the students that are not here, we forward those to the schools and they will get them to the students. So again, gentlemen, congratulations. I think Mr. Fields is going to take a quick picture and you could smile. You're on summer break. School doesn't start until next month. It's not even a smile.
Thanks, guys.
Next, we have recognition of Emily Graham for her participation in the state FBLA contest. Ms. Graham, you want to come up and speak to that?
Oh, please don't.
Well, both Ms. Grahams. Come up and fill us in.
Let her tell you all about what she's done. She knows.
Great. All right, Emily, if you want to come up.
Well, first I competed in word processing at the regional level, which is the UVA College of Wise area. There I placed first place in word processing, which allowed me to go on to the state competition, which is in Reston, Virginia. There I competed also in the word processing, and I had to take a test, a written test there. There I placed second, and I was allowed to go to the national convention, which was in Anaheim, California. It was quite a trip. I will always remember that trip. I didn't place, they only do top 10, but I feel like I competed very well there. I wish I could get my scores to know where I placed in relation to all the students who competed in the word processing, but I don't have that information at this time. But I will always remember that trip. It was a good one.
And just for some perspective, she's been taking business classes since your 9th grade year?
Yes.
So this is the result of a lot of effort over the years, and second in the state and second in the region. That's quite an accomplishment, so congratulations.
Thank you.
How many kids were at the California competition?
We talked to one man when we got there, and overall the whole convention, he said around 14,000.
Wow.
I'm not sure exactly how many were competing in my category for sure, but the top 4 places from state had the chance to go to the national convention, so 4 times 50. But that's if all of them
How
win.
much?
I can let y'all do that, right? But that's if every student that plays first through 4th from every state went. So
That's great.
But thank you.
We appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next, we have Jacob Garrett and Zachary Hammonds. If you gentlemen want to come up, and we have Mr. Grimes from the Career Tech Center. If you guys want to come up and speak about what these young men have done in competition recently.
Good evening. I'm Mr. Grimes. I'm here to recognize 2 students, Jacob Garrett and Zachary Hammonds from the Lee Career and Technical Center for their achievements at the National SkillsUSA competition. I am going to present them with certificates, and they'll be presented from the national competition, and they're going to present the school with banners from the state competition. Some of you may know SkillsUSA is a United States career and technical student organization serving close to 400,000 high school students in more than 17,000 classrooms in all 50 states and U.S. territories. And just to give you an idea of what the students accomplished, they both had to place first at their local competition with just the Lee County schools in February at the Career Center, and at the regional competition with Virginia Region 9 schools on March 3rd at the Russell County Career Center. And then they went to the state competition in Fredericksburg where they both placed first. And that was all the entire state of Virginia competing in that one. And then finally at the national competition in Louisville, June 23rd, that included all 50 states and 3 territories. Jacob placed 20th in internet networking, and Zach placed 25th in information technology services, and he also earned his CompTIA A+ certification. Those of you that don't know what that is, it's an industry certification for his particular field. So that was a great accomplishment for both of them. They were both first-year students in their programs, but they gave their interest and spare time in extracurricular programs like Cyber Patriot and Net Riders. That helped them fill their learning gaps and brought them to that level of competition. During the competition, they were able to see what working in the real world of information technology is like in over 20 hours of competition over a course of 3 days, especially in areas that they had never been exposed to before. With that, congratulations. Jacob. Thank you. Zach. Thank you. Mr. Long will come up. They're going to present him with the banners for the school.
And if I can chime in one thing, these two gentlemen spoke, Mr. Herbert can address this also, but spoke at the advisory committee meeting in April. Did an incredible job addressing a group of business leaders that helped provide some guidance to our career and technical education program. So you guys did an incredible job there, and I think you've done a great job here. And for some perspective, for the school, so the school board knows, the A+ certification is something we actually look for when we're hiring technicians to work on network type of equipment. So this young man's already got credentials in place that we look for when we are hiring. So, Mr. Grimes, nice job. Excellent work.
Yeah, good job.
Can I get a picture?
Sure.
Stand over there.
There you go. Come on in.
Mr. Grimes.
That's enough for me. I'm here with him. Thank you.
So when you guys want to speak, you want to? Okay.
Come on, guys, take a picture here. Sorry, guys, we'll leave this again. Come on, Mr. Brown, where are you at?
Let me photo. Okay, next up we want to recognize Bethany Davis, Mason Glass, and Zach Lane. Are they here? Okay, then I'm going to speak briefly to what these 3 students did. Bethany Davis won the vocal category. They're members of the Lee County 4-H Club. I'm going to read from a statement here. They won first. She won the vocal category at the 4-H Share the Fun competition at Virginia Tech. So this was a state competition, and Mason Glass won the instrumental category playing a drum solo. And Zach Lane won the combination category with his musical performance and guitar solo. So we have some very artistic, very musical students, and performing well at, I'm going to say, summer events when they're off. I say hats off to the students and the families for supporting those endeavors. So congratulations to all these students, and look forward to seeing what you do throughout the remainder of the next school year. So congratulations.
All right, up next is public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? If not, we'll move on to consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda consisting of the following: approval of minutes of the June 8th, 2017 regular meeting, approval of claims and expenditures, approval of the Head Start grant number 03CH3460 cost of living adjustment, approval to apply for the 2017-2018 Head Start grant number 3CH3460/4, approval of field trips, the FBLA national competition to Anaheim, California, and the Lee High School volleyball team to Coastal Carolina University, approval of the following VSBA policy updates to the school board policies: BBE, unexpired term fulfillment; BBFA, conflict of interest and disclosure of economic interest; BDA, regular school board meetings; BDB, special school board meetings; BDC, closed meetings; BDCA, calling and certification of closed meetings; BDD, electronic participation in meetings from remote locations; BDDA, notification of school board meetings; BDDC, agenda preparation and dissemination; BDDG, minutes; CBCA, disclosure statement requirement of superintendent; DJG, vendor relations; EBB, personnel training, viral infections; EEA, student transmission services; EEAC, school bus safety program; GAH, school employee conflict of interest; GBEB, staff weapons in school; GCCB, employment of family members; GCPD, professional staff discipline; IA, instructional goals and objectives; IGAD, career and technical education; IGAH, family life education; IGAH, driver education; IGBC, family and parent and family engagement; IGBF, English learners; IGBI, advanced placement classes and special programs; IICB/IICC, community resource persons, school volunteers; IKFD, alternate paths to attaining standard units of credit; JECA, admission of homeless children; JFC-R, standards of student conduct; JHCD, administering medicines to students; JRCA, student service providers' use of student personnel information; KBA, request for information; LC, charter schools.
Thank you, Ms. Jessie. Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next is reports of the board. Do we have any reports? If not, we'll move on to reports of Division Superintendent, Dr. Ross.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I want to provide you an update on the one-to-one initiative that we're going to be implementing at the two high schools this year. I want to recognize the efforts that Mr. Fields has put forth in ordering and getting devices set up, and also Cindy Nicodam, but then she is one of our instructional technology resource teachers. But with us tonight we have Jill Graham and Christy Howard, who are going to share some information with you about the documents that we've been in the process of creating to support this implementation. And I just want to say hats off to these ladies and to Mr. Fields and his team, because they've done an incredible job this summer developing this. So with that being said, Ms. Graham, Ms. Howard, appreciate you being here this evening. The floor is yours.
It's okay if people stand here. I don't teach well if anybody behind me makes me nervous, always has. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jill Graham. I have spent 15 years teaching 8th graders at Jonesville Middle School. And I'm very excited to be moving on to a new chapter in my career. This is Christy Howard. She'll be talking to you in a minute. And Cindy Nicodemus is on her way back traveling from a cybersecurity conference at Virginia Tech. That's the reason she's not here with us. First of all, we wanted to let the board know, how did we get to this device? So we conducted a focus group at Lee High and Thomas Walker on June 15th with our summer school students. And we provided them 3 different devices that they could choose from to get their opinions. There was about 13 students in each focus group, and they had 3 Chromebook samples: the HBG 14, the Lenovo N21, and the Lenovo N23 Yoga. We told them, since they were in summer school, to try out Ingenuity, because it was a program they were using, to log in like they would, check their email, and of course they went to YouTube, one of the things to see if it's going to be speedy enough for their thing. So they spent about 5 minutes with each device, and then they completed a short Google form survey that Ms. Christie created so we could record the results. So what were the results? The biggest thing they really, really like, and I don't have my glasses on, so I go up here. Long battery life and speed. They're teenagers, that's what they're worried about. They don't care about the brand. Size of the device, the really only noticeable size was your bigger athletes. They like the bigger devices. But for the most part, as long as it's got a good battery, it's easy to use, and it's speedy, that's what they're looking for. So they liked this model, the HBG 14. It was a little bit larger than what I have in my hand, and that was probably the biggest thing they liked. The second one, again, they liked the size of the screen and the size of the keyboard. But the other one said it would be too far to carry. Then the next one was the Lenovo N21. Yeah, they weren't really impressed with it. Its major features were it had a handle that you could carry it, and it had a camera that would flip either way. Then we got to the third one, Lenovo N23 Yoga. As you can see, they really liked it, and here's the reason why. It folds into a tablet, and it's touchscreen. And yes, I liked it so well, I traded my old Chromebook in today. So, that's what they like with the touchscreen. And we did some research, and they are really durable. We actually had one fall off the desk today, was working on it, it worked fine, so we're product testing them as we go. But even some of them were a little concerned, would they hold up? And from the research we've done, yes, they will. So you can see out of the 3, this is the one 81% chose. So thanks to you all and Freddie, we were able to get these ordered. And actually there are 1,200 of them currently at the vocational school.
We're going to bring one around and let you all take a look at it.
So we are excited. We've been managing these. We have almost 800 of them managed.
And I want to take a look at it.
And then we have 400 to go. So.
The main thing you'll notice when you look at it, they have nice rubberized edges. They're built to last. And a lot of people have asked if we're going to put a cover on them or buy a cover, but they're actually clamshell on the outside, which are meant to take a beating. They're designed for education.
They meet military specs too. This is the Chromebooks that the military's buying, so they meet a 5-foot drop standard, that sling in and out.
Yeah. While y'all are looking at it, I'm going to kind of explain what we're doing, what we've done since we've selected them, what we're in the middle of right now, and then kind of our plan, how we're going to get them in the students' hands.
Okay, before you move on,
yeah,
you want to field some questions on the device before?
If there are any, for sure.
So when we voted to buy all students, this is what they're going to get?
Yes.
Okay. There won't be a tracking on them or a barcode to keep up with them?
If you look at the
barcodes are tracking, and we have to maintain SIPA compliance too, so even if they take these devices home, they still route everything back through our web filter. so that
So
they're
anytime you
even,
can see where this device is.
yes.
SIPA, Child Internet Protection Act. Just-
Oh,
So our iBoss filter follows them home.
Right.
yes.
There'll be no social media, there'll be no inappropriate sites at school or at home, or at the library, or wherever they decide to take it.
Right, I can't look at Facebook online.
No, sure
And
can.
if you flip it over, the barcode is on the bottom of those. We
Right.
thought that might be the safest place, so they're not so inhabited to pick them off.
And when you start dealing with the state police and FBI, there's other identifiable information in these
Yes.
devices that they can track accordingly. If anything were to disappear or sold,
Or
be
show
sold in
up
a pawn shop.
Right.
Right, and we can disable the device to the point that no one can even log into it. So if it's reported missing or lost, the first thing we'll do is disable it to where nobody can get on it.
And the only accounts
So
that
then-
are allowed on it to begin with are Lee County school
Right.
accounts. So if someone were to find one at the Walmart and try to log into it, they wouldn't be able to do that.
What about the price difference between the three?
Between the three, there was roughly $35 per in difference in between the three, even buying the quantities that we did. So, I mean, it was fairly negligible. Some of the others that were out there went up over 300. These were on the lower end of the 200 per. So that's kind of what we took, was what was within our budget range, and then what was the best of that, or what the kids like best of.
Mr. Fields, correct me if I'm wrong, but we bid off a state contract and the vendor beat the state contract.
Yes,
Okay.
they were actually cheaper than the state contract. which is great.
And they got them here to us quickly. We got
They
them
did.
Yeah.
speedier than we were expecting. Any more device questions?
Just, I'm gonna ask this logistical question. Chromebook is a brand, but it can be manufactured by several different companies, correct?
That's correct. It's just like Windows or Apple. So yeah,
What are some companies? I mean, we've got HPs for our teachers.
we got
This is
HP.
Lenovo, who else?
Dell makes one. HP, Lenovo. are the only
Acer.
ones. Acer, Asus. Everybody's making them now because they're popular and
Yes.
they're reasonably priced.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but thank you.
Not a problem.
Alrighty, so after we selected our device, we ordered 1,200 of those Lenovo N23 Yogas on June 19th. And the breakdown was, we based it off of last year's enrollment, 738 for Lee High School students and faculty, 355 for Thomas Walker students and faculty. And what we are doing is trading the faculty's current HP G14s with the Yogas. And the reason we're doing that, we thought, if students ran into issues, we wanted the teachers to have the same device in their hands. The devices that the teachers had last year, the G14s, they are going to become part of our loaner carts. So we will have some loaners at the school, 70, I think 62 are going to Lehigh and 44, plus all the ones that the faculty return, and that's in case a student has damage to theirs or something that goes wrong and they need to turn theirs in for repair. They can take a loaner, or even students that opt not to take the Chromebook home with them, they can loan one while they're in the building and use them, so the teachers can still have a full classroom full of Chromebooks, even if every student hasn't opted to have them. And they showed up on Monday, on July 10th. We got 1,200 delivered to Lee County Career and Technical Center. It is, I think, 9 pallets full of Chromebooks are sitting up there. Network manager technicians and the ITRTs have started enrolling them. We worked on them Tuesday, Wednesday, and today. And we're hoping by the end of next week we'll have all of them enrolled. All right, so once we get everything enrolled, the big question is how are we going to get them in the hands of the students? Parents are definitely going to have to sign some agreements, and so we thought the best way to get with the parents was to start at back to school night. So we're going to be presenting at both Lehigh and Thomas Walker's back to school night, showing the device, and then also being available to answer questions. If parents are ready, they can sign the device agreement that night. And then the parents or the students who have signed devices on file will be getting them the first week of school. So depending on how many sign away that night, and we have to get managed before we show up to school that first week, Those, we're hoping to get all of those out by Friday, the first week of school. From there, we know there'll be some students whose parents don't make it out to back to school night. We're gonna hopefully send that out electronically on the school's website and the Facebook site so parents can review it. And then we're also gonna do some grade level assemblies. So we're gonna meet with all the students in their grade levels. We're going to explain to them, you know, all of the agreements and responsibilities that go with their Chromebook. We're going to show them the device, let them look at it, and then we're going to send those agreements home with them from those sessions. They're going to bring them back to their homeroom teachers. ITRTs are going to be at Lehigh and Thomas Walker for the entire month of August, collecting those forms on a daily basis and then returning the next day with devices for those who have signed agreements. We do have a policy that we've been spending some time on, and you guys have that in the board docs, and then we have the user agreement, which is going to be what the parents will sign to agree to all the responsibility that comes with those devices, and the student will sign as well. And I think you guys have a copy of that one to look at. All right, we know there's a lot of information in that policy, and it really is, we wanted to cover every base. We know there are a lot of what ifs with the devices, and the more we think about it, more what ifs are coming up. So we know you guys will probably have questions about kind of how we're planning to do things, and we've addressed as many what ifs as we can think of, but if there are more, we'll add some more to the policy. Are there any questions?
Just briefly for the crowd, if my son
Sure.
going in the 8th grade at Thomas Walker takes this thing home and busted it into 100 pieces, what happens?
Well, we have, as the policy is currently written, any intentional damage will be covered by the family by signing the agreement. As it's currently written, the county is going to cover the first accidental damage, but anything after that will not be covered. But then I think there's a plan in place, or starting to be developed, where we're going to look at some in-house insurance.
And we've discussed that the first one, if it's an accidental drop, then that's something we'll pick up and notify the parents that the next time the cost will be on them, whether it's replacement or the cost of the repairs. The second time, we're going to offer optional $25 insurance that if a parent chooses to pay $25 of insurance, if it happens again, then basically there will be no cost to the parent on the second incident. On the third incident, and I'm going to say any that happen after that, then it's going to be the cost of the repair or the cost of the replacement of the device. So,
and if they go beyond 3, they're going to lose the privilege to take it home. It's going to stay at the school.
We'll start checking them out at the school, so that way it doesn't impact their instructional opportunities.
There's some things that are covered by warranty though, for a year.
Yes.
For the first year, yeah.
If it's my Chromebook don't work,
Sure.
and there's a hardware malfunction, the touchscreen doesn't work, whatever, we can ship those back. We'll have replacements on site where we can issue them out, replace the device, and get it sent in for warranties.
If I decide I want to drive my truck over top of it to see if it's indestructible, that's not accidental.
Yeah.
That will be replacement cost.
And we do, and once it gets to the point where they're paying for it out of pocket, we do have a list that's broken down by replacement part. So depending on what part they damage or what part gets damaged, the cost may differ depending on what needs to be replaced.
And again, really want to compliment staff on the amount of time that they spent researching other school divisions that have been doing this, contacting other school divisions, what's working there, and I think they've done an incredible job of taking that and making it appropriate for Lee County. So that this was not a just sit down and brainstorm something. They actually went to some school divisions that are being very successful with this and found things that might work for us in our community. So,
And that's
again,
the
very well done.
ITRTs, they've done a great job.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, ladies, certainly appreciate what you do, and I look forward to this rolling out in August.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work.
The other question before you roll,
Okay.
are we going to be doing training for teachers about how to integrate these instructionally? I know the answer to that, but I'm just...
Yes. We're planning to do a short before school training, but then we're also developing a Google certification course that will allow teachers to get level 1 certified, which covers all Google apps.
And we hope that you will allow us to talk to the principals at their principals meeting in August, because they really have to be the one to get the teachers engaged. And we're hoping that we can help them with lesson plans using Google Classroom. So all lesson plans are submitted with uniformity, and they're not getting some by email, some by, because we had some problems with that last year. So.
And we know it's a trickle-down effect. If the principals are excited about the Chromebooks and make it important to the teachers will make it important to students, and the students will have to have a device, and they'll know that they need their device and need it ready to go every day.
And we're meeting with principals next week, and this is investment by the board, not just in devices, but also in the support of instruction, making sure that we meet students where they are and trying to create a 21st century learner. So, thank you again. Next up, wanted to make sure that you're aware, start of the school year, it's hard to believe, less than a month away, August 9th, we will be starting. I wanted to make sure that's on everyone's radar. If you're interested in going around to the schools on the first day, let me know. We'll be glad to ride you around, of course, 2 at a time, but if you are interested in visiting schools, let me know. Lastly, we have an operations update. I'm not going to read this to you, but this is work that Mr. Early and his staff have been working on for the past 2 months. Of course, during the summer is when we get to do some bigger projects, so some of those projects take a little more time. This morning, the crew was down at Rose Hill building a ramp. So it's been some of our bigger projects they've been working on, so I want to make sure that you're aware of what else is going on in the division at this point. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Chair.
Up next, unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? If not, we'll move on to action and discussion items. Action item A, if any, to approve disposal of surplus property for school board policy D and disposal of surplus items. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion we approve disposal of surplus property for SB and D and disposal of surplus items.
Motion's been made. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next is B, action if any, to approve BSBA policy update to school board policy GC professional staff. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to speak to this real quickly. One of the things that I wanted to point this out, this is part of BSBA updates, but with the Code of Virginia, there were some changes this year from the General Assembly that allows the school board to waive licensing requirements for individuals who are looking to teach career and technical education courses. So this is something that's very substantial to being able to offer jobs to individuals who are transitioning from I'm going to say a career into the teaching profession. So this is something I wanted to make sure that you're aware of. We have that latitude now, which I think is great from the General Assembly. Administration recommends approval.
I move that we approve the SBA policy update to SBPGC professional staff.
Motion been made.
I'll second.
With a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is C, action if any to approve BSBA policy update to school board policy for SBP JED, student absences, excuses, and dismissals.
Again, some minor changes here from the Code of Virginia, but the big reason I wanted to point this out is we will be meeting with principals next week to work on absences, excuses. Attendance is going to be one of the things that we work on a lot this year. We're going to make sure that we communicate and inform parents about attendance and the importance, because I'm convinced if we can get our students in the seats, our teachers can teach them. So administratively, we're going to make that a priority, and we will be adopting some superintendent regulations to go with this policy. We wanted to just take an opportunity to mention that because we talked about attendance all year, and that's going to be a point of emphasis from day one. So administration recommends approval.
Make a motion we approve the SBA policy update to SBPJED, student absences, excuses, and dismissals.
Second.
Motion's been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is item D, action if any to approve VSBA policy update to SBPJGDA, disciplining students with disabilities. Tongue-tied.
This is a change in VSBA policy that reflects what we procedurally have been doing for years. There's something called a manifestation hearing, that if a student with disability is involved in a discipline-related incident and it's related to their disability, there's certain regulations that we have to abide by. And this puts it in school board policy much more clearly than it has been. So this is a good thing in my opinion, but again, it's nothing changing procedurally what we do. It's just putting into policy what we've been doing. So administration recommends approval.
I move we approve the SBA policy update to SBP JGDA, disciplining students with disabilities.
Second.
Motion's been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is E, action if any to approve VSBA policy update to SBP KB A-E, rights and responsibilities.
An update here on Code of Virginia. This is related to the Freedom of Information Act, and this is really putting into school board policy, again, what we procedurally have been doing, but this really puts into force, I will say, clearly communicates to our community what FOIA is and what is expected from us, what is expected of the person who makes a request. This is, again, just putting into school board policy what's already been in Code of Virginia for years, so administration recommends approval.
I move that we approve the SBA policy update to SBP KBA-E, rights and responsibilities.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is AF, action if any to approve VSBA policy update to SBP LBD, home instruction.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, wanted to point out a policy update, and as Ms. Van Zandt has scrolled down, the major change in this policy is, as you can see, the underlying portion of where we have to notify parents about the opportunity to take the ACT, SAT, and notify those parents in a timely fashion. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to point this out is in the third paragraph where it talks about notification of parents. We will be notifying parents this year. It says any parent who elects to provide home instruction in lieu of school attendance shall annually notify the superintendent no later than August 15th of the parent's intention to so instruct. I'm not going to read the rest of that to you, but we will be contacting parents in the coming weeks that they need to notify us of their intent to continue with home instruction. We have not done that in the past, but we're going to be doing that. So you may be getting some phone calls. Just wanted to make you aware of the policy as well as the change in policy, but also administratively what we're going to be doing in the coming weeks. So administration recommends approval.
Make a motion we approve the SBA policy update to SBP LBD, home instruction.
Second.
Motion's been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next is G, action if any to approve school board policy GA-BR, employee conduct.
This is a locally developed board regulation. This is not a VSBA update. I have coordinated with Mr. Sturgill and gone through some different conduct-related items here. As you can see, they're listed: employee conduct, standards of conduct, and discipline philosophy, conduct outside of the workplace, staff, student relations, and then school board policy and regulations. This sets some clear expectations in place for staff, and this is something that, pending board approval, we'll be communicating to principals and making sure that we communicate this to all staff as far as expectations. This is clearly defining some expectations that I think that the school board's had in place, but puts it in policy in a manner that's much more clearly stated. So, Mr. Sturgill, you got anything you want to?
I don't have anything to add, but it's pretty clear cut as far as the wording on it.
Administration recommends approval.
Make a motion we approve SBP GA-BR, employee conduct.
Second.
Motion's been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is H. Action, if any, to authorize the division superintendent to fill vacancies existing or occurring between July 14th, 2017 through August 10th, 2017. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next is board comments. Do we have any board comments? I'd like to congratulate all you guys that's come out tonight and apologize for having to sit through all these policy updates. It's boring, I know. But good job, everybody. Anybody else? Up next is closed session. Do we have a motion to go in closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into closed session to discuss Personnel Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A1 and pending and threatened litigation Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A7.
Motion's been made. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. We are now in closed session.